Why, you want me to be your mommy? Should I be your papa, make decisions? You want me to be your mommy? Alright, hang on. Should I be your papa, make decisions? Where's the echo coming from? I don't know where the echo is coming from. Found it. Hang on, YouTube's having trouble. All right. All right. Welcome to Forex.Today, the YouTube community of more than 20,000, in fact, more than 21,000 foreign exchange traders. We gather here today to trade CPI. Yeah, boy. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're going to get some volatility. I'll tell you that much. We'll also do some pregame analysis. Let you know what's what. Let you make your decisions. But also let you know where the market is sitting, so to speak. All right, cool. With that being said, let's get on with it. Trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term. Never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Good to see you. Oh, it's funny how my camera changes. Interesting. Sometimes it's close, sometimes it's fall. Does anybody understand what my hat says? Huh? We'll see. So CPI, we got a lot to do, so I think I'll just zip over to that. We'll zip over to that. We got a lot to do. News is coming out in about 25 minutes, 24 minutes. Right now, the markets are, they're flat. Okay, they're flat. We're obviously waiting for the news. Very bullish on euro dollar, very bullish on gold, very bearish on Bitcoin, very bearish on Kiwi Swissy, dollar Swissy, Aussie Swissy, Kiwi Swissy. So definitely stuff going on in the world, but we're waiting for the CPI. That's right, Ashish, you got it. That's exactly correct. So when I wear this around the Harvard Club, they're just know, 2020. Yeah. So I can do it. So my first degree was in 2019, and my master's degree was in 2020. So that's the one I wear, the most recent one. Cool. Now, I got an email from TRADARS telling me that, well, we got inflation news. Oh, look at that. The time is off here. That's interesting. There was a time issue on something else, and I found it, and we fixed it, and it was hidden on some server somewhere. But this one is off. That's interesting. So I'll have to let the developers know. It's 8:30, not 7:30. I'll try to remember. Think, Pooh Bear, think. So here's a little update on the market. Everything looks quite flat as we wait for the news. Technically speaking, Apple's at the top of the range and has a potential to fall before the rise. Now remember, I don't like trading that way. That's not what I would do if I were me. But that is proper technical analysis. Now, I like to override TRADARS with my own bias. And so if I'm a bull, and by the way, we will build a training course for you, but if I'm a bull, I use the red line here at the bottom as the primary line, and the green line is just a suggestive line. So I would never like buy at the bottom, sell at the top, buy at the bottom, sell at the top. And that's what's setting up here, but I wouldn't do that. So if I was a bull, I'd look at this as a potential risk and maybe an opportunity in the future to buy a dip, but I wouldn't sell it. TRADARS is just showing you that we're at the top of the range and we're respecting it. Yeah. Maybe a potential breakout on Tesla. Remember, it lost about 50% of its value. Okay. You can go to a Tesla store and there's no employees. Yeah. And they have a lot of cars. Okay, Google. Okay, if this is a breakout now, a pennant has broken through resistance. So you take the distance from the top and the bottom and you project it out to here. And it could go higher, but it's just saying up to 176. Okay. NVIDIA, resistance down, resistance down, resistance down, resistance down. Uh-oh. My mouse just died. Morning, Maida. Yeah, my mouse just died in the middle of a live stream. Oh, now it's working. Uh-oh. 0%. Oh, you're kidding me. I got to go get a battery. It's 0% left. Shoot. What a great time for that to happen, huh? Well, I suppose it's better than 2 minutes before CPI. Let me. What do I need? It's got a AA and a AAA. Well, I guess I got to go take a walk. If I can still move my mouse, I'll give you some charts to look at. Of course, I just took the top off my mouse, and now it doesn't click. All right, hang on. I'll leave you with this. This is good eye candy. Okay, let me go get a mouse. Let me go get a battery. BRB. Sorry about that. You know what? Do I still have royalty-free music running? No. Let me give you some royalty-free background music. Okay, be back. Sorry. I need a mouse. Sorry for playing my wedding music. This Razer mouse goes through batteries like crazy. Oh wow, changed pages, huh? Wait, that didn't work. Still says 0%. It's not working. It's a good battery. It's definitely not working. Yeah, maybe my mouse actually died. I tested the battery, it's strong. Well, I can't move my mouse to turn the music off if you don't like it. All right, well, there you go. So yeah, for some reason, my mouse is dead. And it says there's 0% battery left, but I just put in a brand new battery, and I tested it. And the battery is perfect. 3 lights out of 3. And so the mouse is just dying, I guess. Yeah, well, it's a $150 mouse. So anyways, we got 10 minutes. So I guess I'll keep my mouse to a minimum. Oh yeah, it's dead. How are we going to get through this? How are we going to get through this? Let me, I guess, kill Quant Box. And I will just go from my brain. I'm trying to, and now I've lost. No, there it is. And I guess we'll do euro dollar for the sake of doing something. And I will keep my we'll keep it to a minimum. All right, so there's our plan A and plan B. Buy it, plan A, or buy it, plan B. And there you go. So that's working. All right, so I'll just have to babble. And I have no visuals because I can't move my mouse. But let me tell you this. Is inflation going to be high or is it going to be low? Much of the market says it's going to be lower, and I think that's probably wishful thinking. So a couple of things. And I only have about 8 minutes, so I got to be quick. Okay? 30% of the CPI is related to housing and rent. In your opinion, have housing prices and rents come down significantly in the last 30 days? Or even year over year? Yes or no? Have rents and housing prices come down significantly year over year? Peter says, no way. Come on, let everybody answer. Come on, let's go. What are you waiting for? Okay? All right, so that's 30% of CPI right away. Okay? Yeah, there's my, I don't know if you can see it, but a thing keeps popping up telling me that I have 0% remaining on my battery for my mouse. So anyways, okay, so no. All right. Now, if you look at the subcomponent of ISM on services, they say inflation is high and rising. If you look at the ISM subcomponent for inflation in manufacturing, so manufacturing and services, both have inflation rising and increasing. So that alone, I think, suggests that it would be very difficult to get inflation down significantly today. Wow, can you hear that? That's my mouse over and over and over yelling at me. Battery's dead, battery's dead, battery's dead. So I'm not going to be able to move around the charts today. So hopefully, so I apologize for that. I didn't know. So anyway, so there's some logic there, right? There's some logic there. Inflation can come out any way that the government wants to measure it. But looking at some basic facts, it seems like the risk is to the upside, and the market doesn't seem to want to even consider that. The market seems very much positioned like it'll come in better than expected, lower than expected. Don't I have a spare mouse? I did. I mean, it's a good question. I had one. Problem is I cleaned up my office last week, which is funny because I only half cleaned it up. So I don't know where anything is anymore. Yeah, maybe I do. I have a jelly comb. Let me see if I put the battery in the jelly comb. Guess we can try it. No. Well, there was a big revision yesterday, your customer, so absolutely not. So what I suggested in my email, there we go. I might have a mouse. What I expected in the emails, if it comes out higher than expected, the Fed won't be able to cut interest rates this year. And the dollar will get strong and the stock market will fall. Is that clear enough, your customer? Okay, so we have about 3 minutes. We also have retail sales, which is nominal. This mouse is much different than the last one. So my Razer mouse is a gamer mouse, and it's very, very fast. There we go. So we have retail sales coming out, but we're really focused here. Notice that this is live. Now they're all updating as the news comes out in a few minutes. We're still 30 seconds away, I suppose. I guess my microwave is off a little bit. So like here, forecast 3.1. What if it comes out 3.6? That's what I don't think the market's ready for. Now, Core is thinking 3.6 with the 3.8, but pay attention to both. A 3.6 and a 3.9 is just something the market's not ready for. And I think it might be wishful thinking. .6, 3.4, higher than expected, but it is a tick down. It's the most difficult situation. That is the most difficult situation because it's somewhere in between. Oh no. So be ready. So this is risk on what you're looking at. People are saying better than before, the Fed could cut. But in a number like that, I think you can also get the opposite of people, having sell orders up high. But less than before is good news. It's not great news. It's not amazing news. But it could be worse kind of news. Okay, so we were at 3.2 a couple of months ago. Then we're at 3.5. This takes a while to update because it's coming from a different database. Right? And now we're 3.4. So it's an ever so slight improvement. Okay? But the market is happy. Happy! Okay? The market is happy with that. So under that circumstance, let me show you here. Like if you don't know what to do, I mean, look, you need to subscribe to QuantBox. Oh man, this mouse, my backup mouse isn't very good. Okay, this tells you what to do. So in a risk-on scenario, which we are now on the very short run, you typically are buying Aussie, buying Euro, buying CAD, buying Kiwi, buying the S&P 500, and selling dollar and yen, for example. So we want to look at those, like how did the yen pairs react? And so we can go there, for example, because that's a typical risk play. And they dropped significantly. That's interesting. Running into that. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I got something there I think I forgot about. All right. I don't know what that was. All right. Probably an accident in coaching. So their initial response is mixed. You can see the flippy. Taking a look at dollar across the board, and we can change this. We can go window, vertical. Man, I have to slam the mouse. Dollar is weak across the board, which is good. That's good risk on. You can see this is a breach of a range. So the way you trade a breach of the range is at some point, and probably around a daily or a weekly pivot point, there'll be a pullback, and then you're able to go long after that. Ooh, this mouse. I think what it is I have to push. Oh, yeah, I have to push really hard. So I'm used to that gamer mouse. So you don't even have to touch it. And it triggers. So this one I feel like I'm pressing metal. I'm bending a dime between my fingers. High volatility event-driven strategies. You could start fibbing, for example. Let me turn the old mouse off because it keeps triggering. I think that's off. Okay. Where did my mouse go? There we are. Again, standard operating procedure. There's nothing complicated about this. Just trying to figure out where we are in the vol. If you want to insert some day trades, you go to custom, biased pivots. You want a day trade and you're a bull. Okay. And what I'm looking at now is this zone here between the 50% and the 618 is probably your most ideal. And you would have to pick that up probably on a 1-minute chart. Okay, we got pretty close, but not quite. Now we're splitting hairs. Okay, you're either going to buy a dip or you're not going to buy a dip. I mean, that's pretty much it, right? Okay, so pay attention to that. Those are all just standard little scalpy scalp type scenario. You've seen me do it 100 million times. Looking at like pound dollar, obviously we have now, okay, moved through and completed. This is a completed central pivot to R2. Okay. So the Investor Bootcamp. Okay, investorbootcamp.com. In the training course, it says if this line is your bottom, that line is your projected top. And when you see that, not even 1 pip above, like, oh my God, right? Is that right, Charlie? Yeah. Maybe I'll stop by and say hi. I'm definitely overdue for a visit to Singapore. So like last time I was in Singapore, I went to grab my favorite Cuban cigar. And I'm like, I'll take one of those. And she goes there, and I realized that she had it inside the humidor. There was a humidor, and it was locked. And she's like, yeah, I'll get one for you. Right? I'm like, cool. Just, by the way, how much does it cost? $250. And I'm like, oh my God, why? Like that time that was very expensive. Now that would be a fair price, maybe even a cheap price for that cigar. And when I was in Cuba, hanging out with the head of production of Cohiba, the guy that makes them, we're just sitting there smoking them. Now, the sad thing is, a Cuban makes hardly any money. Hardly any money. Like nothing. You could basically say nothing. A local Cuban owns nothing. But to buy a Cohiba cigar, it's $300, which is like your annual wage. You're like, there's no way a Cuban could pay $300 for a Cohiba cigar. But that's what they charge now. So, tourists, be aware. Right? Like you can go to a fancy bar with bartenders wearing tuxedos and order, what are those things called? Daiquiris? Is it the daiquiris or I think they're daiquiris. And get way overcharged, way overcharged, and it's $6, maybe $5 to go for an incredibly expensive cocktail at a nice place. So imagine $300. It's just like, wow, wowzer. Anyways. So anyways, let's move on. So you're either interested or you're not. You're either into this trade or not. I've already highlighted everything. If you need someone to hug you and hold your hand and pull the trigger, get a bartender or a priest or I don't know. But I've done everything, and I don't know if I want that kind of all. I think it's a mixed bag, and I told you within seconds of the news coming out, I think it's a mixed bag. I think it's good news, and I think it's bad news. But let's go look at the stock market. And how's this reacting on a smaller time frame? Let's get in there. And, look at that. Dude, seriously, look at that. Just hit our targets. Just so beautiful, huh? Look at profit target, conservative. It's all labeled 5275.65. Boop, boop. Wow. So if I were going to be a buyer today, this zone looks interesting. Interesting. So now I can drop into a small time frame and look to giddy up. So Charles, the sad, yeah, thank you, Bernd. The sad part. Oh, by the way, let me move my stop to break even. I might as well just remove all of it. Oh, that's a little close. Come on, mouse. Man, I have to crush it to get the mouse to work. Problem in Cuba right now is there's just a shortage of everything, including food. It's a fairly big island for an island. I mean, you can drive hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours through farming field. But you might have a tractor, but there's a shortage of diesel fuel because the Russians don't send free energy anymore. And then there would be a shortage of tires and fan belts and hoses. And all of a sudden, like, you got a tractor, but it's now a paperweight. And so productivity is really low. And there's a shortage of food. There's lots of people. And Cubans are cool, man. They know how to solve problems because every day is a problem. So they don't complain. They just solve their problems. But it's hard when there's nothing, like, right? There's a shortage of food and such, and you know, it just sucks. But like on some of my visits there, I just wanted seafood, and it's an island. They should have plenty of seafood. You can just harvest the ocean. How easy is that? Yeah, well, again, without the support of the Russians and the Chinese. In particular the Russians, there's no diesel fuel to take a boat out and get some lobster. So poor Wayne has to sit in his fancy restaurant and suffer by not having fresh lobster. It's a real shame. But without all the joking, it really sucks for a local where you're staring at the ocean full of food and you're hungry. It sucks. Yeah. It sucks. So anyways, there's the stock market. That's a look. No diggity, no Dow. Oops. I don't think that's going to grab. There we go. No diggity, no Dow. Okay. No diggity. You want to pay attention to these roll reversals. If you didn't buy the pullback, then this is now a roll reversal where resistance becomes support. Once again, daily pivots kind of do all this for you, but, to each his own. Let's do some crypto. Okay, risk on for Biddy. Biddy, can't you see? Sometimes your trades just hypnotize me. And I just love your jazzy ways. All right, so look. Bullish profit zone aggressive. Do you see it? I labeled this yesterday. We hit it and we stopped. You're welcome. Okay. Change of direction. Plausibly. And we'll mark this out. Okay. And you'll probably want to mark this. No, come on, mouse. Oh, well, I did the same thing twice. Not needed. Okay, so you could start arguing that we have a change in trend. Okay. Now, I've already highlighted the old support, which we've bounced at multiple times, so it shouldn't come as a shock. Okay, this is our inverse head and shoulders that I identified, I don't know, a week, 10 days ago. So you're either in on it or you're not. Okay. Okay. So is that the new trend? Yeah, well then you want to buy a dip, right? So you're looking for a mean reversion. Let's look at Ethereum. And a little bit of a different story, but what I am highlighting here is a triple bottom. Okay, triple bottom. You face a trend here, you see that there's still downward pressure, but there's an upward move. So if you can get above this line, you could end up buying a higher low. And I would consider it on this zone. Okay, so you want to connect this with that, and it might look something like this. Okay, so a little more work to do, but we have the market conditions. Ripple. Triple bottom. What you need is your trigger. And you can buy on the bottom, or you can buy after the break. Okay, so you pick up Ripple around 50. It goes to 60, comes down to 56, and then you buy that dip. Hey, if we did a meetup in Singapore, how many people would show up? How many people would do a meetup in Singapore. You want Solana? Okay. Where in Spain? Marbella. I don't know where Marbella is. I just drove through Andalusia. Which is, it was nice, right? Byrne says Asia is no for you. That's too bad. I love Asia. Singapore and Hong Kong and maybe Shanghai. I like a lot. Oh, too far? Really? I think if I was going to London, if I was going to go to Europe, I'd go to London. Yeah, probably Seoul has more liquidity, right? Yeah. Yeah, but what part of Spain is it? So the 50% predicts the 1382 if you want some sort of prediction of how far on this move. S1, R1 is the short range. So the range that we're in now is this range. And that just gets us to the top. So it doesn't predict direction. It predicts sideways, maybe up. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been to South Africa, of course. Is that right, Jim? Yeah. Costa del Sol, southern Spain. Yeah, well, I was really close. The closest I got to that would be like Ronda. How far are you from Ronda? I was coming down from Granada on my way to Gibraltar, so I got close. I saw. I mean, we drove a bit of the way along the coast, not much. You come south, you got to go through the, countryside. I was on some really small, tiny little roads. But yeah. So, yeah, how far are you from Ronda? That'll give me a sense. You might be further up and further east. I wouldn't mind heading back to that region anyways. So I'm like, I wouldn't mind flying going back to Gibraltar and maybe opening a company. It's a good place to have a offshore company, and then I could like zip over. Hour and a half there. Yeah. Right. So my guess is you're east, sort of. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Rondo is neat. Yeah, I know Mediterranean coast. Yeah. Dude, I just told you. I was just there. I know it. I know it well. Yeah, I know where you are. How about that? Who would meet me in Gibraltar? Maybe you can open up an offshore trading account. Marbella. So anyways, we're caught there. So yeah, up I can see, but it's not predetermined. But with the assumption of additional risk on, yeah, I could see you getting 183, 185, that kind of area on this. Yeah, Edux, yeah, it seems like a beautiful place for sure. Um, yeah, it's very built up though, huh? It looked really pretty for sure. I kind of stayed away from that because I didn't have much time, and I stayed inland because I heard when you get to some of those coastal towns, it's just British Brits walking around eating British food, wearing British clothes, and doing British things. And that's, well, if I wanted that, I'd go to England, right? So, I like local culture and history and food. So that's why I stayed up north around Sevilla, for example. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Okay, so there we go. They're all kind of doing the same thing. Litecoin, it looks like it's lagging a bit. So it's got a lot of work to do because we got this in our face and you want this to go up. So we have a bullish engulfing candle. Okay, that's fine. So on a smaller time frame, yeah, it's likely to go up to about 79 or 80. Then it's likely to come down, but then I don't know. This is the thing. I don't know if it's going to go higher. In fact, it's probably going to go lower. So I could see it going up to 80 and then dropping back down. And the pattern is, you could call it an R1, S1. So we're done. But you could argue, it's an M3 to an M1. So I just statistically can't tell you. Like, I get this move. I understand that. And there's not much meat on that bone, and to catch it, you might have had to do some guessing anyways, which I don't do. So like, there's a high probability that happens, but I understand you might be risk on, and maybe all current cryptos are going to go up, and maybe dollar's going to weaken, and the stock market rallies. Yeah, that's a lot of what ifs, and it makes sense. But if you're going to use technical analysis, do it right. That doesn't say high probability of higher high, higher low. It could happen, and we're reading through it. It could happen. It might happen. It would make sense if it happened. But technically, that is not a setup to do it. So I'd look at it and say, well, maybe next week. And maybe next week would be something more like this. Let me try to thread this. You get a move kind of like this, and then you get a move like that. Oh, you have to crush it with this mouse. And even then, it's still not very clear. Okay, and even then, we're now at the top of the old range. So, Yeah, Edux says, yeah, you find a lot of northern people at that time of year. And, yeah. Yeah. I see, that's the part I probably don't want. But like maybe next year though, like one of my thoughts is I was thinking about doing the Monaco Grand Prix. So like I could fly out to Monaco and do the racing circuit and do the after parties, which are You don't even go to the race. It's all about the after parties and do a yacht and all that kind of stuff. And then I could drive to Gibraltar, so I can just drive along the coast, stopping at a couple of places, and then zip over to Morocco, and then fly home. I'd like to drive right. I'd like to drive cross from Gibraltar or Tarif over to Morocco to Tangier, and drive to Schaffhausen, and then drive to Marrakesh, and then fly home from Marrakesh. That'd be fun. Burned is like Litecoin's not cool anymore. Yeah, well, it was for a while, and it was as far as actual transactions, it was cheap and it was fast. Well, Bulgaria is just not in my wheelhouse. It's a little farther, right? If I was Eastern European, yeah, maybe, right? I'm not in love with Gibraltar as an offshore, but it's British. So the English offshore in Jersey or Gibraltar, for example. And Gibraltar was fun. It was fun. It's a cool little place. It's an interesting place. I stayed at the Forbes Tower in Gibraltar, and it was really cool because my balcony. I had a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom. Anyways, I stayed at the top of this tower, and there's this balcony. You can, off. There actually had 3 balconies, but you could almost touch the rock. It was so close. It was really, really, really cool. It was a neat place. And I loved the gibberish. The accent of our guide was just crazy cool, and he was so nice. Like I gave him a reasonable tip. I teach my children how to be kind and generous, and so when we travel, I'm kind and generous. And he personally drove us home and stuff like that because he was so surprised. So anyways, it's just a neat place, and I don't know. It was neat. I'm not in love with it, but it's cool enough. And you got Spain right there as well, and so it's kind of an interesting mix, and it's all British law and all that kind of stuff. So why not? Jersey, I don't know. Like, would I ever fly to Jersey? No. Could I fly to Gibraltar? Well, there are many things that I could fly to and then get to Gibraltar. So it just seems kind of more interesting if you want sort of a British offshore account. Open a company in Gibraltar and then open a trading account in London. You see? Because I'm in America or the Americas, offshore accounting in the Caribbean just makes a lot of sense. And so BVI, Caymans, Nevis, some Bahamas, I know some Bahamian hedge funds, Bermuda, which isn't actually the Caribbean, but Bermuda. These are all options that make sense to me. I own a company in Hong Kong, which I need to sell. But that was another option because, I had some business opportunities that required that. So there's different ways for sure. Bulgaria, Estonia, like I could buy some Forex brokerage firms and stuff. with MT4 licenses in Estonia. And look, Estonia is cool. There's no doubt about it. And I know it's solid. But I kind of get nervous when all the laws I have to follow are in Estonian, and I'm like, I know people have been to Estonia and they're like, it's really cool. I don't want to fly to Estonia once in a while, so like there's a problem. Like when I sell my Hong Kong company, it requires wet signatures, which means when I sell it, I got to fly to Hong Kong. Oh my God. Really? Seriously? So like after a while, I want to avoid that. So it's like, I don't have a problem with Bulgaria or Romania, right? Or there's a few places. I just don't want to deal with it. Yeah, it is pretty cool. I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, Estonia is cool. Yeah. Yeah, I know a little bit about a little bit. By the way, if anyone wants to buy the Hong Kong company, I'll pretty much give it away. It's probably 20 years old, but you got to cover my cost to fly to Hong Kong and give it to you. Yeah. Oh, I know, Edux. Yeah. I just, So I'll meet you at the Ritz-Carlton in Kowloon. And then I'll meet you there. We could have dinner. And then we'll go over to the other side. If you've been there a million times, then we'll just zip over there. If you've never been to Hong Kong, we'll take the little public boat across, which is really cool, to Central. And then we'll zip over to the office and meet with my lawyers. My lawyers in the office are in the same building. And I'll sign it over to you. All right. So there's your crypto. So email me if anyone here is interested in that. That's a cheap way to get a 20-year-old company with a good name too. It's got a good name, so you can email me. A lot of off-the-shelf companies have just stupid names, and they're like, "Oh, no, this is good. If you want to be an investor, it's a really good name. It's premium." All right. Let's go back to the dollars. So Wayne at fxbootcamp.com. Dollar's still weak. Okay, we did get a pullback into the little purple area. We got a 50% on the euro dollar. That's where I'm like, dude, you're either going to do it or not, right? I said, look, if you need somebody to hold your hand and give you a hug, I said, get a priest or a bartender. Right? It's not me. Zanzibar. I'd go to Zanzibar. I really need to travel. My wife looked at me the other day and she said, there's something wrong with you. I'm like, no, baby, I'm cool. I'm just tired. She's like, you need to go somewhere. Where do you need to go? I'm like, I don't know. And she said, Zanzibar. No, that part's not true. But like, I want to go somewhere, I guess. Even my wife's like, dude, you need to get out of the house. I work too much. I'm too focused. All that kind of stuff. Not balanced. Need to go somewhere. And I'm not a tourist. I hate tour. I like taking people around. But when I travel, I like to do work. So in the sense, like, I like meeting people. I would do Me, I was thinking like I should just travel around the world, do it in like 10 days or less, stop 5 different places, just circle the world and do a podcast in each stop. And knock out maybe once a year, I'll travel around the world talking to investors. You know what I mean? I'll stop in Tanzania. Okay. What is my email address? Wayne@fxbootcamp.com. You think that's crazy? Why is that? What's so crazy about 110? There was a time where I was going to, right? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, from like a year ago or something. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, where we started, then you left for a year or whatever it's been, and it seems like 10 years. And so I'm like, I don't, like, time is an issue, man, right? That's the issue. It's like, really? Like, all that times go by. I cleared time, and then we didn't use it, and now I'm running 2 more companies, and it's a struggle, right? Yeah, Abdul, email me. Tell me what's up. If there's a budget and stuff, like who's going to pay for me to go to Tanzania? I'd love to go. I know it's a beautiful place, but like when I was in Johannesburg, they're like, hey, stay an extra day. We're going to take you to Kruger National Park and you can see the big 3. There's lions and there's lions and giraffes and rhinos. I'm like, that sounds really cool. I've always wanted to do that, but I got to go home, right? So it's like one of those things. But so anyways, email me again. We got to figure something out. It's just it's going to be hard. I'm going to have to come up with a new strategy. Okay, but email me again. Just realize. Realize we'll need to come up with something, right? Yeah. Yeah, at that time when I said I can mentor somebody, I had the time and inclination at that moment. And usually a mentorship lasts a month or so. So a year later, I'm like, well, I'm running multiple more companies and I'm building on top of them. So I'm already 6 months into the future. So going a year in the past, I'm like, so it's hard because that window is essentially closed. But we'll figure something out, okay? But please email me. Just be patient with me. You can just understand that that's where I'm at. Was it Big 5? Sorry, Henry. But imagine, like, Henry, like, that's how much I went there for the people and not for the trip. Right? So I'd fly all the way to Johannesburg, work 2 or 3 days with the people, and then they're like, we are going to show you the best part of our country. And I'm like, oh my God, that is a dream. But I got to go home. I have a wife and kids. I got things to do. I'd love to do that, but I got to go. So I was only there for the people and not for, quote unquote, a free vacation, Boy, I wish I had done it though, But I got too much going on. It's sad, really. Sad, but it's good. Yeah. So anyways, euro dollar sure could go. Okay, this one definitely, you see how it's just, maybe it's turning. It's a neutral -2, but that was several days ago. So the way they use QuantBox is now you can go to a Kiwi pair, for example. And see if anything has changed. It's still neutral, but it's a 1. Cool. So things are improving. Do you see that? See how smart this is? It's gone from a -2 to a +1. So it's not bullish, but it's moving bullish. So you can try to trade into the future bull. It's not bullish yet. And I got to get rid of that. Is it going to be that? Is that what that is? It's not. Well, let's just change it. Let's just do daily confluence. Okay. So a couple of things. You can become a bull in the future with the idea that it's becoming more bullish. But remember, I taught you how to trade technically, and you know that this is done for now. Isn't it nice to be smart money? Remember when everything seemed random, and now you're calculating things to the pip? I mean, seriously. Okay? Cool. All right, something just happened. Now I've lost the chat in the stream. So I don't know if the stream's even going anymore. What the heck just happened? So weird. The chat just went away. Someday. Stream status not connected. Am I connected? Well, there's no chat, so I guess it just turned off. All right, I think it ended. I think it's over. Well, yeah, I guess it's dead. I guess we're done. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think it's YouTube. And now it looks like it's done, but it's showing me a timer that it's ticking, but there's no viewers, there's no category, there's no title, there's no chat. So I guess we're done. So I will end the stream, and I will see you again soon.